I do feel like I should preempt your questions with telling you that I've recently planted 12 avocado trees at my house. I just feel like you need to know that. Hey guys, I'm Sophia Bush, and this is the Avocado Show with Well+Good.
Are you ready for us to ask a few questions?
Yes.
We'll start with an easy one. What's on that plate?
It's just a little avocado toast. I love a fresh avocado mash, microgreen, sea salt, radish. It's crisp, it's nice. I know summer's technically over, but we're in LA, so it still feels summery, and that feels very fresh.
What's one rule you live by?
Not to sound completely cliche, but it's a really excellent quote, and I feel like it's a good aspirational goal for how we all move in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And when you have a bad day, own it and then go back to trying to be the change you wish to see in the world.
Do you think Brooke Davis would live by that rule?
Yes, I also think Brooke Davis lives by the rule, take no prisoners.
Did you always want to become an actress?
No, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to work on horses. And when I got a little older, junior high school, I was convinced that I was going to be a pediatric cardiovascular surgeon. And so it was a real shock when I told my parents that I wanted to go to theater school my senior year in high school. They were thrilled.
Did you always want to become an activist?
I always was. When I started really getting engaged in running big philanthropic fundraisers and politics and canvassing for political candidates in my 20s, my mom said, "Thank God you have this platform to do this with, because, when you were a kid and you started the beach cleanup club at school and no one wanted to go pick up trash on a Saturday, I had to take you by myself." So she's thrilled that I have another outlet for all of my world-changing endeavors.
So a few years back, you suffered from a pretty serious stunt injury. How has that changed your definition of wellness?
In a lot of ways, actually. It was a pretty gnarly event, and what I realized was that when I went to the hospital and I had to have an MRI and a CAT scan, there was all this worry that I might have a brain bleed, which was very scary. And I had an injury to my lower body, but the priority had been given to my head, and I didn't have an MRI, and so I didn't know for years that I had actually torn ligaments in my hip. And when I finally discovered why I was in this exacerbated, constant pain, I had to do a lot of rehab on that. But I realized in hindsight that I needed to advocate for myself better in that moment and in that experience. And I also have realized that it's incredibly important that we implement practices of wellness that keep us healthy rather than getting sick or getting hurt and then trying to undo the illness or the injury.
Best daily practice to feel better every day?
I think checking in with yourself. I think there are so many things out there in the world that are asking for our attention and asking to be chosen and asking to be prioritized, and we often forget to choose ourselves. So that could be 2 minutes of deep breathing before a meeting, that could be a meditation practice, that could be eating the kind of food that you deserve to eat, that could be drinking more water. I have to remind myself every day, I'm like, you dehydrated lady, drink more water, less coffee.
Your gram is pretty inspiring. What's one small thing the rest of us can do to stand up for what we believe in?
Oh, well, thank you for saying that, first of all. One of the most important things that we can do, a lot of people will say, how do I start? How do I start advocating? How do I start being an activist? Figure out what it is that lights you up. When you witness something and it fills you with that feeling of sacred rage, like, this cannot be happening in the world. We have to do something about this. Listen to that voice. That kind of fire, that kind of passion is an indicator that you really truly care about something, and then go and help the helpers. Figure out what the organization is that's working to tackle that issue that you can volunteer for, that you can donate if you're financially able, that you can give time to, that you can share on your platforms. Some people think that if their platforms are small, their sharing won't matter, and it matters so much more if a person with 300 people in their circle who really are listening shares than a person with millions of people who aren't paying attention to what they say. So I think each of us can be a tiny revolution in our own community if we just put a little bit of energy toward the things that light us up.
What's one issue, I know there are many, you wish more people were talking about?
All the things. One of the things that I am dumbfounded by is that period poverty holds so many girls back. When I talk about period poverty, what I mean is when girls don't have access to the sanitary items that they need to manage their period and thus can't go to school. It's happening in America in every single community around the country. 1 in 5 girls in this country experiences period poverty. 88,000 girls are missing school in Los Angeles because of period poverty. This is just crazy to me. The fact that we treat women's bodies and what they do and their ability to create life as taboo or gross is crazy to me. So we have to normalize the conversation. We have to educate people about the issue so that we can do something about it.
The pink tax, period poverty, the gender pay gap, the list goes on. How do you keep going when it seems like change is so hard to create?
Again, I like to help the helpers. And I also recognize the privilege of my career, my platform, and the fact that I can use that to advocate in really interesting ways. It's the reason that I've partnered with Always on their End Period Poverty campaign. That's actually our hashtag End Period Poverty. Jimmy Fallon, by the way, says this is a hashtag, this is a hashtag. Not the point. Hashtag End Period Poverty is something that everyone can get involved with. You can hop on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can repost our posts. You can repost this incredible video that we made with a young girl named Emily in partnership with National Geographic to tell her story and her family of how period poverty affects her and her pursuit of education. For every post on social media, Always is matching up to 1 million period products donated. And last year, they donated 20 million products to girls in need. So that, for me, is something that feels doable. It's something that feels change-making. And every single one of us has the opportunity to show up in some way to make change.
You have a lot on your plate. How do you prioritize taking care of yourself with such a public and busy life?
I don't think that anybody knows what the key to balance is, but I'm always trying to be a little bit better than I was the day before. I try to go to bed a little bit earlier. I try to drink a little more water. I was up at 5 today and I made a celery juice in my kitchen and I was like, I am a superhero. I deserve a cape. Look at me do this. I wanted to snooze for 15 more minutes, but I didn't. And that felt really good. So I think taking the small wins and making sure that even small moments can be given back to yourself is really important, because if we're not healthy, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not out serving the world well.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten is not to wait for fear to go, to be afraid and do it anyway. And to take my vitamins, that feels like a good one.
What's one thing women need to stop telling themselves?
All the things. It's rough for us out there. We get a lot of really terrible mixed messaging. We have to author our own news story.
What's your astrological sign, and do you think you fit the characteristics?
I am a Cancer, and I absolutely fit the character. I am a nurturer. I am a protector. I love the water. I am obsessed with the moon. And as much as I am a people person, when I have something going on, I often go inward. I process inward, and then I'm an open book and I'll share forever about anything.
5 women you admire most.
Oh God, literally hundreds of faces are flooding my brain right now. My best friend Nia is one of the most incredible people that I know. Sarah Brown, who ran the whole education ministry in the UK for so long and was absolutely so sweet when I met her and literally fangirled her in such an inappropriate way. Oprah Winfrey, set the tone for my whole curious life as a woman and as an eventual journalism major. Plot twist, went to theater school, dropped out, majored in journalism, studied political science. Hi, that's why we're here. This is so hard. 2 female scientists who created a bacteria that eats plastic. Hello, I am fascinated. Give them the Nobel Prize. What's going on? I did just spend days watching the US Open and Serena all day. I was literally so inspired. I took a tennis lesson last weekend and was like, wow, I'm really bad at this. Who knows? We'll see if I ever do it again.
Top 5 books everyone should read?
There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score that is about trauma in the body and how we as humans all exist with it. And I think it's incredibly important for people to know and learn. This is very hard for me. If you saw the bookshelves I had to build in my house, you would understand why this feels very tough. Everyone should read Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. There's just so many things. I mean, collected poems by Jack Gilbert.
What makes you feel strong?
Knowledge.
One thing everyone should do every day.
Be nice to someone.
Favorite healthy snack?
An avocado.
All right, well, with that answer, we'll let you go.
I can eat
Get back
this
to your
now?
avocado toast.
Great.
Thanks for hanging.
Thank you. See ya. I know, I wish I could share it with you, but I'm gonna eat it, so.